said that this one particular food was studied to reduce hot flushes by 84% over 12 weeks with just half a cup of this food a day. Right, now we reach the part of the week that really excites me. Well, that's food and its power to influence what goes on inside of our body, how we feel on a daily basis, and of course, our long-term health. Food plays such a huge, important role in our life. And there's a lot of hope when you start bringing in supportive foods into your life. Not everybody wants to take hormone replacement, for example. And I'm going to show you, here we go. Let's bring this slide up. A new study found that diet is as effective as hormone replacement therapy for reducing menopausal hot flushes without any of the associated health risks. This kind of study really makes me intrigued and excited because I also wonder, okay, they looked at menopausal hot flushes as a common symptom of that stage of life. But I also wonder what they would have found had they also studied other symptoms. I look forward to seeing those studies too. And what we eat on a regular, habitual basis really is impactful. Here's another quote. Small diet and lifestyle changes have the potential to make a big difference to how they manage their symptoms and improve this transition. And this Zoe study showed the same thing, that hot flushes and sleep disturbances were 30% less likely to be reported by women who ate a gut-friendly and plant-rich diet. If you've been following along this week, you would know by now that balancing our hormones has got to be our North Star. That's what we need to think about. When we think about reducing symptoms of perimenopause, we need to think balance our hormones, and specifically estrogen and progesterone. Because we know now that it's actually the fluctuations of estrogen and progesterone that are responsible for the vast amount of perimenopausal symptoms that so many women experience. Those could be emotional imbalances, brain dysfunction, mental health decline, hot flushes, heavy periods, difficulty sleeping, sexual dysfunction, the whole shebang. It's all got to do with balancing these hormones. So in early stage perimenopause, we have high estrogen and low progesterone. And in late stage perimenopause, we have low estrogen and low progesterone. So it makes sense that our goal in early stage perimenopause needs to be to increase progesterone, to bring it back into balance with estrogen, and to support the body to get rid of excess estrogen. We can do that by consuming more phytoestrogen, good fat, vitamin B6, calcium, and by giving our liver some love. I'm going to save talking about our liver for tomorrow, so let's get into the rest. Phytoestrogens. Now, phyto just means plant. So the word phytoestrogen means plant-based estrogens. Now, it's really important to have an abundance of these foods, especially in early perimenopause, because they can have an anti-estrogen effect by binding to our estrogen receptors, kind of blocking their effect. And it has that hormone balancing effect. Now, as we know, in early stage perimenopause, estrogens can fluctuate and spike, and phytoestrogens can help bring back those levels by binding to our estrogen receptors, effectively blocking some of their influence and reducing our symptoms. But what about late stage perimenopause? If you've already got low estrogen in that stage of life, and phytoestrogens are going to come in and block whatever you can get, so therefore lower again, would you want to avoid phytoestrogens? You would think so, if not for the wonderful knowledge that phytoestrogens are adaptogenic when it comes to estrogen balance. What is adaptogenic? Well, it means that depending on whether your estrogen levels are high or low, they will swoop on in and help to do whatever is needed. They can block estrogen when your levels are high and they can mimic estrogen when your levels are low, thereby potentially helping to manage a more stable hormonal balance through whatever stage you are in. Isn't that wonderful? Now, I'm going to give you a list of phytoestrogen containing foods, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed with the sheer number of what's on there. What I want you to do is grab a piece of paper and a pen right now and write down just one or two or three of your favorite phytoestrogen containing food. What I want you to do right now is grab a piece of paper and a pen. And as we go through this list, I want you to write down your favorite one, two, or three maximum phytoestrogen containing foods. And then I want you to put this list on the fridge. We're going to keep adding to it this week. But then I want you to take a photo of it today and post it in the Facebook group. That's your challenge for today. Are you ready? Here we go. We start with soy-based foods. We've got a range there: tofu, tempeh, edamame, soy milk, miso. We've got legumes, all different types of legumes: chickpeas and beans and lentils and peanuts, so peanut butter. You've got your seeds and your nuts. They are fantastic phytoestrogens as well. We've got flax and sesame, almonds. You've got almond butter. And you've got all your whole grains in there too. So whole wheat and rolled oats and barley. Got a couple of veggies up there that shouldn't be there. They should be here on this next slide. And so then we also have, of course, veggies like garlic, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, and some fruits too, like your berries and your apricots and some sprouts. So take a screenshot. I'm going back to this one. Take a screenshot now if you'd like. And again, for this next one, and you can keep referring back to that. But write down your favorite one, two, or three of those foods that you already like and you know how to incorporate into your meals. Write it down on your paper, put it on the fridge, take a photo and put it in the group. I would love to see your list. It's really important to start incorporating these phytoestrogenic foods into your diet as early as possible in your perimenopause journey. And let me just say one last thing before moving on. Though all of those phytoestrogenic foods are beneficial for our health, and not just because they're phytoestrogens, of course, they have fiber and lots of different minerals and vitamins and lots of things going for them. However, there are two phytoestrogenic foods that are just the heroes when it comes to helping our hormones balance, and that is soy and flax. They're like the magic beans when it comes to supporting ourselves through perimenopause. In fact, Dr. Christy Funk, who is a breast cancer prevention specialist, she used to be a breast cancer student, but pivoted and did a career to the prevention of breast cancer. She recommends 2 to 3 servings of soy daily. But she also said that even if you're just consuming 1.5 serves a week, you would decrease your first-time occurrence of breast cancer by about 60%. That's the same rate as anti-estrogen drugs given to cancer patients. Incredible. Now, here are some examples of some servings. You've got about 1 handful of tofu, which also gives, all of these will give you lots of great protein as well. But 1 serving of soy would be a handful of tofu, a handful of tempeh, a handful of edamame, 1 cup of soy milk, or maybe even some miso paste on your toast. If you haven't tried it, please do. Just like Vegemite, go and buy the red miso paste. And it's a probiotic food as well. So you're actually feeding the good bugs in your gut at the same time as doing something to help prevent your risk of estrogen imbalance and breast cancer down the track. Now, remember in the introduction video, I promised you some information. I said that this one particular food was studied to reduce hot flushes by 84% over 12 weeks with just half a cup of this food a day. Well, you're about to find out what it is. There's the study, and it's actually soybeans or edamame beans. So half a cup of edamame beans every day for 12 weeks. That picture should be green, shouldn't it? I guess it's just soybeans in general, right? saw an 84% reduction. But for those who continued beyond the 12 weeks, they said that their symptoms pretty much vanished and disappeared entirely. I can almost hear the outcry though. You're recommending soy? You bet I am. Aside from helping with perimenopause symptoms, plant estrogens are needed to help reduce our growing risk of cancer as we move through menopause and improve our bone strength. Now, I know that historically, soy was absolutely vilified and said to cause breast cancer, not prevent it. Now, Dr. Christy Funk said that soy acts on the receptor status inside the body, just like anti-estrogen drugs given to cancer patients. And she listed the drugs there that she gave to her patients. Now, she used to vilify soy herself, and she told all her patients to avoid it until she went to write a book about breast care. And she had to research the sources of information of the recommendations that the medical industry had been giving for quite some time. And what she discovered was that there's a mountain of evidence and scientific research that actually demonstrates that soy is incredibly beneficial, not detrimental. It was just a couple of small mouse studies that were not very well run, but were very well publicized and misdirected the spotlight for soy. Now, another quote she has here is that if you have breast cancer, you will reduce that recurrence and breast-related death by about 32% if you have the 2 to 3 servings a day that she's suggesting. Isn't that incredible? So we want to think about soy in its whole food form, like fermented soy, including tempeh, miso, tamari sauce, natto, but also minimally processed soy, but also minimally processed soy in the form of whole soybeans like edamame and tofu and soy milk. And all these foods have been extensively studied in humans as they relate to breast cancer since 2009. Soy isn't the only phytoestrogen that we can benefit from. It's just the most studied, and together with flax, 2 of the most powerful. But all of these phytoestrogens mentioned are beneficial and often come hand in hand with other compounds that help reduce perimenopause, like fiber and antioxidants and protein and the like. But we're going to get into all of that. Shifting gears. So, if in perimenopause, that beautiful hormone that we all want, progesterone, the one that's super strong, calming effect and anti-anxiety, antidepressant, helps us feel okay, helps us sleep and have lighter periods, all those beautiful things. If we know that it's going to drop in perimenopause, then we need to be thinking of ways to make more of it. Yeah? So you might be asking, well, okay, how do I make more progesterone? Well, I'm glad you asked. Progesterone is made from cholesterol. And what's cholesterol made from? Ideally, good fat. So if we eat more good fats, we make more progesterone. Well, yeah, it really can be as simple as that. We eat the good fats, our body makes the good beneficial cholesterol, which then creates more progesterone for us. Having a great supply of quality fat has been shown to lower the bad cholesterol, increase the good cholesterol, which transports the bad cholesterol away from the arteries and the heart and back to the liver for excretion outside of the body. And not only that, but eating quality fats can increase the activity of the bad cholesterol receptors on the liver, which is a good thing because it helps us remove the bad cholesterol from the blood and spit it out the other end outside of our body. Our body is, of course, made up of just a whole bunch of cells, right? And for signaling molecules like hormones to talk to those cells, they need really good cell membrane integrity. And that cell membrane is made up of a substance that needs fatty acids. And so when we have a great supply of good quality fat, then we're strengthening our cell wall and helping our hormones be able to talk with them. So let me give you an analogy. Imagine your cells are like individual homes in your neighborhood. And hormones are like the phone calls that need to reach each of these homes. And the cell membranes are like the phone lines connecting each home to the communication network. And so eating good fats is kind of like upgrading our phone lines with the latest technology. When we eat the good fats, it's like we're installing a high quality, reliable phone line into each home in the neighborhood. And those improved lines ensure that our phone calls or the hormone signals can be transmitted clearly without interruption. Now, some people might be concerned about producing too much cholesterol if we have so many good fats, right? Well, I've got good news for you. The body knows exactly what to do with it. When we're eating simply, when we're just having real whole food, very difficult to go wrong. It's very different to consuming synthetic vitamins or supplements, or in the case of fats, maybe some trans fat. The body can regulate its cholesterol synthesis based on what it needs. Now, good fats can also help with all of these perimenopause specific health goals. I'm not going to read through them all in the interest of time, but if you want to take a screenshot, you can. Here are some examples of good fat. We've got nuts and seeds, and salmon, quality oil like olive oil. Please don't be scared of olive oil. Recent studies have shown that olive oil is safe for use in most of our kitchen at home uses. Olive oil should be our go-to. Then we've got avocado and milk and beans. Here's a more extensive list. Feel free to screenshot this one. And again, don't get overwhelmed by the number of things on there. All I want you to do is choose again your favorite 1, 2, or 3 items on the list and add it to your fridge list. Okay? All I want you to do, think about which ones you can consume more of. Okay, shifting gears now. Let's talk about vitamin B6 and how it can help reduce our perimenopause symptoms. Now, to start with, let me just say that we cannot make vitamin B6. We have to get it from the foods we eat. And how does it help with our symptoms? Well, in quite a few ways, actually. Number 1 is the stress response. Vitamin B6 helps to make the neurotransmitters that regulate mood and stress levels. And stress can profoundly affect hormone balance, including making progesterone and managing estrogen levels. Number 2 is hormone balance. B6 helps our hormone balance by helping our ovaries make more progesterone. And it can support our liver to help metabolize and get rid of excess estrogen by transforming it in the liver. We're going to talk about that in a later day. But it also helps to decrease our estrogen dominance, allowing for a better hormone balance. So B6 is the bee's knees. Also low mood and anxiety. Did you know that B6 is required for over 100 enzyme reactions in the body? And a couple of those enzyme reactions are the conversion of proteins to neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin and GABA, which are, our pleasure and reward hormones, mood and motivation, happiness, anxiety, calming of the nervous system, and also all of those then create melatonin, which we need for sleep. And as we know, sleep in perimenopause can be an issue. So we need an adequate supply of B6 in our diet to help manage perimenopause effectively. Here are some foods rich in B6. Let's choose another 1, 2, or 3 to add to your list on the fridge. Take a screenshot if you want to come back to this again and again. We've got tuna and salmon and bananas and sweet potato and spinach and chickpeas. I can see there are lots of double ups on this list, but they are your go-tos for B6. Choose your favorites and put them on your list. A study found that calcium might actually be required to produce progesterone. So if we're eating more calcium, then we may actually be creating more progesterone. Here are some high calcium foods. Again, take a screenshot and write down your favorite 1, 2, or 3 of these foods to add to your list on the fridge. I know that it's growing and we're going to keep on adding to it. That's why I'm saying just choose a couple. We've got milk and yogurt and the dairy, and sardines and salmon and mackerel, chickpeas, figs and oysters and pesto. We've got lots of really yummy foods here, almonds and beans and chick. Now, bear in mind that Dr. Libby has found that around 80% of women with estrogen dominance, which is early stage perimenopause, have done really well on a strict dairy-free diet. So you're not going to find any dairy in our perimeno smoothie that I'll be demoing on day 5. It's really hard for me to understand how so many people are yet to embrace food as a way to support our health. When we look at what we've discussed today, the phytoestrogenic foods that can work adaptogenically in the body to either increase or decrease the effect of estrogen in our body, the good fats to ensure clear and strong messaging from the hormones to your cells, B6 to help with sleep and mood, and calcium to help clear out progesterone and estrogen and keep them balanced. It's really hard not to have a deep appreciation for the connection between what nature provides us in form of food and our amazing, perfectly designed bodies. I'm convinced that it's our modern lifestyle and our modern industrialized diet that pushes us off kilter. And when you look at the list of suggested foods, it's actually really easy to see that when you just eat real food, or jerf, as a lot of people call it, and a diverse amount of it, it's really hard to go wrong. I really hope that you've caught the vision of using foods to balance our hormones and to manage our perimenopause journey, to thrive in our perimenopause journey, and that you've chosen your favorites from each list. Take a picture of your finalized list for today anyway. We will keep on adding to it, and post it in the Facebook group. I'll see you tomorrow for our second food-based toolkit. It's all about our liver and how to give it some more love because it really deserves it. See you then.